Yeah, cool. Uh, just clear that off. Cool. Welcome, guys. First of all, just want to say a huge thank you to everybody for coming to join us. This evening, we're going to be hosting. This is my second event, which I'm really excited for. Tonight, we're going to be hosting and talking all about men's mental health. For anybody that doesn't know, another group that we work with had a general mental health Megazoom last week. So this week, what we decided to do is to come together with myself and my amazing friends here, and Jared and Kevin. We're going to be talking this evening all about men's mental health, how it's affected, how prominent it is out there in society, and just a few, we're going to share our stories, talk about it, and basically from there, talk about a few things that we think are big key areas that get overlooked sometimes as well, and how that affects people. Because for me, the reason why I'm doing this evening is because mental health actually is something that is very deep rooted inside of my heart. It's something that I've been affected by deeply throughout my life, and now I've come to the point where I want to start to share my healing journey, how I managed to recover myself from being in such a bad place in my own mind. So what I want to do is just start off and let people know a little bit about myself and my background. So I'm 33 years old now, and I've been suffering, or had suffered, with mental health for the majority of my lifetime. That started off with me when I was from childhood, really, from birth even. I was born in the UK, up in the northeast of England, which is quite a strong masculine energy naturally around in my local hometown area. Very, I don't even know how to explain it. There's just so much. I was brought up around a lot of violence, a lot of crime, drugs, alcohol, all very prominent and in my face. Not directly in my house when it comes to drugs and alcohol, but literally next door to me. I've seen a lot of violence around me, some in my household as well. And throughout this very young, early stages of my life, I always found it very hard to fit in. I always had friends, but I could never seem to attach myself to one group. I could never stick to everybody. I was never the popular kid. I was never the unpopular kid. But throughout my childhood, I was subjected also to a lot of bullying. One, believe it or not, because of the color of my skin, although I'm not really a dark person, whatever, but in my area, I was at the time, and I used to get so much trouble for that when I was a child. And around me, I just thought, this is just how it has to be. This is the way it is. Always constantly getting told the only way that I'm ever going to stop this violence towards me was to respond with violence, even, So I was taught that from a very young age, and that, as I started growing up into my teens, because I was getting bullied myself, I started to want to be that person, or become more stronger and start defending myself, really. And then from there, really, I kind of went down a path where I could have spiraled out of control very easily and got myself involved with drugs and alcohol and everything else. I was thrown out of school at 15 years old. So I found, again, I was finding it hard to fit into society and friends and stuff. And then I was also finding it very hard throughout my life to fit into the educational system. So I found myself looking for an escape. And basically what that escape was for me was I decided at 17 years old to join the armed forces. So I ran away, packed up my stuff, decided to leave home behind. I was still in the beginning, started as part-time in the armed forces, and then later on in my life, that ended up becoming a full-time career for me. It was always something that I was very, very passionate about. When I decided to take that route, like I say, it was to escape. And what I found is that just really led me to more destruction in my life. Now that I've had time to sit back and reflect on it, there was a lot of reasons at that time why I decided to go down that route. But I found, like I said, I'm maybe just talking on a little bit here, so I'm going to cut it down a little bit for you. I went off, and what I found is at 19 years old, I was in Iraq. Followed up a couple of years later at 22 years old, I was in Afghanistan. Now, I'm sure a lot of people can probably understand that that comes with a lot of stresses and pressures and mental health difficulties, you know. Hello. So that can come with a lot of, like I say, a lot of stresses, a lot of damage on my life. And the hardest part for me of that wasn't actually the operations themselves that I was involved with. It was the returning home for me, trying to fit again myself back into that society. And what happened was, at that point was, let me think. So this was back in 2011 when I returned back from there. I was 22, 23 years old at the time, 10 years ago. And that was probably the lowest point of my life. So after serving in 2 operations, I just crashed mentally. Like I say, I couldn't fit into the society. I couldn't really explain to anybody what it was that I'd been out there, seen and done. And a lot of the time, society just wanted to ask me very probing questions a lot of the time about what goes on in places like that. So I never really had the opportunity to talk about what was really going on inside of my head. And that led me to losing pretty much everything that I had in my life, apart from my job. I kept going at the military. I kept pushing. I kept going, really, because now, again, 10 years later, or 5 years since I've been out of the forces, was I had some sort of power in there, to be honest. I held a rank. I could put this uniform on, and I could feel strong out there in the society because I was part of a group. Finally, you know, I had that in my life, and it made me feel strong. But like I say, going back out there, I couldn't fit myself back into society. I broke down everything. I lost my house. I lost my partner at the time, who had been with for 8 years. I got myself into stupid, colossal amounts of debt at the time. And I was fueling that with alcohol. So every evening I would come home and I would just drink every single day. And then back, like I said, 5 years ago, so in 2016, when going through all of this period before, I was having suicidal thoughts. I was just, like I say, in total self-destruct mode then. So I decided to remove myself completely from it. And I fell back into the same trap. I was looking for an escape. I ran away, just exactly the same as what I did to join the military in the first place. I ran away from my childhood to get away from all of the abuse I had then, lived a good life in the military, got into a bad state and decided to run away again. And that was really the pivotal point of change in my life, where I began to start taking my mental health very, very seriously. I decided, because I felt like I had nobody to reach out to at home, I decided to start healing myself. And initially that was to move to Australia, and then later on to Indonesia. And by doing that, I managed to escape the social pressures. That was one of the huge things that I realized, that had been holding me back for so long in my life. You know, I'd been struggling with it my entire life. But then when I removed myself from what I was very familiar with, what I'd been brought up with, the conditioning that I'd had as a child, I was able to start finding some sort of clarity in my mind again. And throughout all of this period throughout my life, being very stressed, being under high intense jobs, I was very, very sick. Now, for somebody like me, I'm quite confident, although I might not come across as confident on the screen. But in person, in life, most people that know me in my time would be like, yeah, Mark, he's always moving around. He's always doing something. He's always excited. He's doing really well in his career, everything. But they would never see what was going on the inside, you know. My gut health in particular was in a state of despair, really. I was suffering from very, very bad IBS, stress related, anxieties, even. Like I say, I didn't want to go out. I felt like I couldn't go out and speak to people. And then what I found was by removing myself from the UK, by living abroad, these things were getting better and better inside of me. My anxieties were getting better, my health was getting better, my gut health was getting better, but I was still having a lot of problems at the same time. So I started looking a lot more into holistic methods of healing, and starting to meditate a lot more, for example, trying to really understand myself. Who am I? I've lived my entire life through conditioning, through people telling me what I should be doing and how I should fit into society. Now, everything in my head is ringing alarm bells saying this is not really who you are, you know. So yeah, this managed to help heal me, you know. And I think really, so that's just a rough outline, quite a long outline of my life. There's been so much that goes on. I could talk about this all evening. But yeah, what the prominent things that I want people to know is, like, there is help out there. We don't need to stay on these stigmas all of the time. We need to open up. We need to let go of some of that masculine energy. Even, you know, we don't always, as men, have to be the strongest one in your family, the one that's leading the way. It's perfectly fine to open up and share this with everybody. So on that note, what I want to do now is to hand over to my really good friend Jared, who's going to explain in a different perspective about mental health and his story behind it. If that's okay, Jared.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mark, for sharing. And I think what you're doing that's so powerful is that sharing, you know, being open and transparent about your mental state. I think so many men are reluctant to do that, to talk about it, being seen as like not being manly or whatever, to show vulnerability and to look for help and support. So here you are advocating for that and becoming living proof that that is a healthy path. So for myself, I can't say that I personally suffered from mental illness. I think I tangled with stress and anxiety related illness and, you know, stuff that most people deal with, depression and weight gain, things like that, as an offshoot of the stress and anxiety. But basically, as the spouse to Allison, and you know, she definitely did struggle with mental health. And at the beginning, when we first were together, it wasn't as apparent. And I knew that she had suffered some traumas when she was younger. But more and more, especially after we had children, we started to notice, you know, a decline in her mood levels, and you know, she was manic, and you know, the downs were very down and more sporadic. So you know, all these things that happen, a lot of young women take like she was on Accutane, which is for acne, right? And it's a very powerful medication that affects your hormones and your gut health. And could do a lot of damage. So she did that. She was on birth control from a young age, so that affects your hormones as well. No, Janae knew this. So when all that accumulated later on in life, she went on an SSRI. She was prescribed for her mood and depression, something to boost her serotonin levels, unnaturally, of course. So things like that. And, even then, as an offshoot of that, it was like, then she wasn't sleeping well. So, she's taking melatonin, and she's having digestive issues, so she has to take like a diuretic and a laxative so she can go. And how these things affected me, as a husband, as a father, was, I seeing this decline. I want her to be healthier, I want her to be happier, but by not having this open discussion about not entertaining lifestyle as a possible solution, it was always just pill for your ill. And not to speak ill of doctors, I think they're very important, in terms of surgery and diagnostics and emergencies, they're vital. But if you have like a lifestyle related illness or condition, and your doctor doesn't talk about natural healing methods, integrative medicine, looking at your lifestyle, then chances are you'll end up on a similar path as Allison did, as we both did, because we went to see her psychiatrist, and he was trying to get me on medication, and I'm just like, okay, look, I think we can handle this. And what we discovered was that as we ventured towards gut health, as we started to look towards the gut microbiome as the source of mental health, which was brand new. We didn't know about this. This was like science fiction when we started, right? And there's not a lot of peer-reviewed studies and randomly controlled trials showing you that there's evidence that taking care of your gut, it would lead to a better mental state. But we went through it, we experienced it, and I watched Allison's, you know, basket of medications and prescriptions next to the bed shrink and shrink, and eventually she was done with it, everything. And her mood stabilized. She no longer had these severe downs that were, affecting our lives. It affected our relationship, and because we were in that closed mentality, we couldn't really speak openly about our issues, dealing with past traumas and things like that. We never would have broken through had we not initially gotten past that first layer of mental health. So, there's all these natural things you can do, and we're going to talk about those later to increase your mood, obviously. But the gateway is your gut, and so much of your mood and your mental state is reflected by your intestinal flora. So if you have a healthy gut with pre and probiotics going in, healthy fruits and vegetables, organic, you're avoiding antibiotics, you're more likely to be able to exercise more. You're going to laugh more. You're going to smile more. You'll just have an increased overall mood. And we witnessed that. We saw it happen before our eyes. And I'm so grateful that we discovered this, because it's almost like a cheat code towards getting to that happy place, and just having it as a guy. Like, I've tried other methods. I've tried diets, I've tried coaching, I've done these online things in person, and nothing stuck because I couldn't stick to something that was complicated, and like, I have to take this at this time and this and this. I was just like, okay, I'll take a green juice, I'll take my biomedic, and let's see what happens. And then after 30 days, my mental clarity increased, and eventually I lost overall about 25 pounds of weight. I'm 40 years old, and I've always been, a bit bigger. I had that dad bod that is plaguing the nation, and then I also lost my asthma and my allergies, which I didn't know respiratory health was connected to gut health. So all these amazing positive transformations happening, and Allison and I just began to share it. And that transformed our personal life. Now we could work together and be together. We can travel, do anything we want, because we are connecting people to this powerful solution. So I urge anyone who's suffering themselves or with their spouse that you look into gut health. And here we're going to propose some solutions. So a good friend of ours, Kevin, who also joined at a similar time, we met through the vegan community, and going plant-based, great help as well. But Kevin has a family history of mental illness. And I'll pass the mic to you, Kevin. And yeah, thanks for hearing my story.
Yeah, I want to say thank you so much. And Mark, your story was so powerful. Thank you so much. It really resonated deep with me. And I just want to add a little bit to what you were saying and to some of the challenges that we go through, you know, in the society in general. And one of the challenges that I know is that talking about this particular topic, mental health within for men specifically, is completely taboo. It is something that is not talked about enough. And when it hit me personally, like I was totally blindsided, because if I were to go look for that right now, you're not going to find that on the news. You're not going to find it on the TV. You're not going to find that in the education system. It isn't something that's talked about, but it really truly is an epidemic that is going on. If you look at even just the male suicide rate, it is incredibly high in many, many countries, especially Western countries. And that's what I want to talk about right now. What happened to me that really completely shook my world and kind of turned like my world upside down, and kind of was the starting point to me actually making any changes in my life. And that was my dad 4 years ago committed suicide. And that was the first time that I was first faced with something like that happening. I didn't know anyone else that it happened. I'd heard about it. You know, everyone knows about that. But when you're faced with that, it really changed me on the inside. So two things could have happened. I could have went down one path. I figure my sister went down one path where she resorted to drugs to deal with the trauma that endured onto her. And then for myself, I decided to start questioning everything. So for me, I didn't know why it happened. It was a surprise. And so I started asking questions and started looking up information on why do people do this? Why does this happen? You know, how could this happen? How could someone that seems happy, seems healthy, you know, do this? You know what I mean? And what I learned is that it was in the mind, and it is a mental illness condition that people go through. One of the big books that helped me understand this was a book called The Mask of Masculinity. And in that book, it talked a lot of different things that that men go through, that they kind of put masks on to kind of cover and show the world. So they're not actually being themselves, their authentic selves. They're kind of just putting on a mask to show the world a certain side of them to cover up something, right? That's kind of the premise. And that made me really think. So for me in my life, I said, I don't want to go down that path. I don't want that to happen to me. So I started asking a lot of these questions. But those questions led into learning a lot of information about it and then making changes in my life, right? So one of the things that happened that really shortly after that is I did end up going plant-based. I did end up going vegan in a search to feel better, in a search to find myself, in a search to help me, you know, cope with this, right? Then leading into that, I wanted to make an impact. So I've always been that type of person that I said, I want to make an impact in the world. How can I make an impact? And so the work that I was doing wasn't making an impact. I wasn't making a big impact in the work that I was doing. I didn't feel like I was helping the world or contributing to anything. I was working in the restaurant industry. So what ended up happening is I started really diving deep into helping animals, and I thought I was making an impact for the animals. Felt like I was making an impact for the planet. I was educating people, inspiring people, and helping people through that way, right? But what ended up happening is that information that I was taking in from that information was actually causing me a lot of trauma. It was causing me PTSD, right? So PTSD is post-traumatic stress syndrome, which is something that Mark went through most likely when he is in the military in the war, when you're seeing however you're seeing it, you're seeing a lot of death and a lot of suffering. I was seeing that on the daily basis as an activist. I was seeing what was going on with the animals, and that was causing me a lot of stress and a lot of traumatic syndromes, right? Also, I was completely isolated because I left my job. I left my job because it didn't align with me and I wasn't making an impact. I also lost my fiance at the time, so I have a very similar situation. All of these things combined really took a toll on my mental health. I started isolating myself. I didn't want to be part of the world, and I started having suicidal thoughts. And I started also having a point where I was masking what I was going through with humor. People looking from the outside in probably thought that I was having a great old time because I was using a lot of humor in my content online. So that wasn't helping, right? It was helping maybe a little bit, but not really. So I ended up going to Belize. I met Jared in Belize, and that's when I started taking my health seriously. And that's when I started really looking into the gut health. And what I learned through the gut health through their education is that 90% of our immune system and 80% of our serotonin is produced in the gut. Serotonin is the feel good hormone, right? So when I was able to fix my gut, I was able to feel better. That cloud lifted away from me. It was like a veil was unveiled. You know what I mean? Where I could actually see the world for what it is. I can actually see who I was. I didn't have those emotional triggers, and I didn't want to hide as much. I wanted to share more because I had an experience and I could make an impact. So from that impact that I felt within myself and that mental clarity, less PTSD, less of the incredible stress I was going through, anxiety, depression, those those feelings that were going through me started to go away, and I started to want to share with people, and I started to want to help others overcome the same thing or very similar stuff. And I felt like I was making an impact. Now I've impacted most of my family, right, has started helping, impacting their gut, right, and I've reached hundreds of people. So with that fact right there, I was like, I'm definitely making an impact from a way that I wasn't making an impact in my life. And I think another issue that men go through in general is not finding their purpose, not having a purpose. When you don't have your purpose, you don't know why you're here, you don't know what you're trying to accomplish. As a man, most men feel like they're not a man, right? Whether that's true or not true, that's the feeling that a lot of us feel. And so when you have your purpose and you're driven and you're going towards your goal, one, you're going to feel better. You're going to have a better mental clarity. You're going to feel like you're accomplishing something, and everyone around you is going to start to see that, and they're going to want to gravitate towards that. It's incredibly attractive. And so what I found is that finding my purpose has aligned me with my mental health, and helping other people with their mental health is the purpose. So that's what I wanted to share. And so what we're going to talk about right now is how can you do this, right? What are some solutions? What are some practical stuff? It's enough talking about how we got here. We're going to talk now. So Jared is going to start us off with how can we, like, what can we do about this?
Thanks so much, Kevin. I think, yeah, exactly. Like having that mission, honestly, it eluded me for so long. I thought I just have to be good at my job. I just have to like take care of my kids. But then aligning with like this disruption of the corrupt system that's plaguing everybody and making everyone sick, that is my mission, and it's completely aligned, and it's transformed our lives. So, yeah. So these are like the healthy habits that would change your stress and anxiety levels. Exercise. So the stats are 4 in 10 adults in the US reported symptoms of anxiety or depressive disorder. That's a lot, 40%. So with things like the pandemic happening and gyms shutting down, daily exercise became a second thought. And people are not working out as much, they're not exercising, they're not getting out. So because our brains respond well to physical activity, our heart rate increases, endorphins are released, it promotes a surge of happiness. Endorphins do that. So that's relieving stress and anxiety, and just boost self-esteem, which for men, that's everything. You want that natural confidence, and exercise gets you there. So through gut health, you'll more likely to work out harder, to work out longer, to be more into exercise. I know for me, I couldn't work out. I had to be like, I required so much discipline just to get myself motivated to go work out. Now it's very easy. I'm driven. I could jog again. I haven't been able to run my whole life. Okay, eating well, a balanced diet. So that has a strong impact on our mental state, and which is correlated to gut health. So the foods that we eat every day, you want a balanced diet that support beneficial bacteria in our digestive tract, so we can harvest a healthy, happier mind. So beyond just that typical guidance of like pre and probiotic foods, what else could you do? Is there something more I could be doing to regulate that, to make sure I'm absorbing as much nutrition as possible? And it's possible. And the first step is to eat a well-balanced diet, but then also combine it with Biomedic, or the gut harmony, which will clean out the glyphosate, the damage done by pesticide use over time. So we'll touch on that in a moment. But laughing, obviously, it's like similar to smiling. When we laugh, our muscles release any withheld tension, our bodies become more relaxed as endorphins release. So laughing, key thing to to releasing endorphins. Soaking up the sun. Everyone loves the sunshine. And vitamin D helps boost your mood and releases chemicals such as serotonin. and that's what's stabilizing our mood and our feelings of contentment. So, and if you live in dark gloom, no, Junie, just one second. If the sun isn't shining, then you could try the Power Shake, which is liquid sunshine, and it's energizing green drink, and it creates feelings of satisfaction, boosts your energy level, and nourishes your cells with healthy fats and organic greens. And then lastly, being kind to yourself. Being gentle on yourself, being kind, saying kind things to others, acts of kindness. And if you're suffering with distress and anxiety, PTSD, these types of things, it's not really conducive to being kind. You're not exactly oozing kindness. But what we've discovered is with the Purium community, the Kind Human Collective, which Allison started, it's a support. It's like that kindness is our currency there. And what it's doing is it's self-empowering people. It's getting people kind of a foothold, a daily routine that's healthy, and that is the strategy. So we'll dive in now to the specific products that we were mentioning. So Biomedic. Mark, do you want to speak to the Biomedic, or as it's called in the UK, Gut Harmony?
I can take it away if you want.
Kevin,
yeah, if you don't mind, that
sorry,
would be great.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so as far as the Biomedic, to me, this is the absolute game changer. This is the like baseline for everything, because what happens with this one, like he said, like it doesn't even matter honestly what you eat if you do not have proper absorption. You could be eating the best, cleanest diet right now, but if you have a messed up gut and you're not absorbing anything, you need to fix that first. And this is one of the best foods out there that you could possibly have. And what I love about this one, well, let me just quickly read the thing. So prioritize superior gut health with the Biomedic. So in the UK, it's called the Gut Harmony. In the US, it's called Biomedic. Same exact ingredients. It is just a different name. So made with all natural ingredients. They're little tablets, and they detoxify your gut to help nutrient absorption and promote digestion, flush out harmful toxins, support the good bacteria, and protect and repair your microbiome from genetically modified damage. So what I want to explain why this is so critical. There is a toxin out there called glyphosate. If you haven't heard of glyphosate, I highly recommend you look it up. Glyphosate is something that they spray on the genetically modified crops. You know them as GMOs, right? The reason why they do this is because they are modified to be resistant against this chemical. This chemical is often known as a pesticide. It's listed as an antibiotic, so it does kill bacteria, but what it also kills is everything it touches. So when you modify the plant, it will not kill the plant, but it'll kill everything around it. That means it's killing the insects. That means it's killing the bugs. That means it's killing the soil. That means it's killing all the weeds. It's also killing the animals, and it is water soluble. So this is getting into the water. This is getting in, it's even in the rainwater. You cannot wash it off. You cannot cook it off. You cannot clean it off. You might be saying, well, I'm not eating genetically modified foods. Well, they do spray it on the wheat crops, the soy crops, and the non-genetically modified foods as well. The reason why is to kill them in order to harvest them. It's just a tactic, and that's coming in the food. So you want to look at this level of the glyphosate that's inside your food, definitely in your area. So what this does is this helps bind and remove it with a fulvic and humic acid. So these are ways that they repair the soil. So soil can be repaired, it can be rejuvenated, and this is a natural way that they repair the soil. If you watch the documentary that explains this very well, The Need to Grow, you can see how they can repair the soil. So the same process of repairing the soil, you can repair your gut microbiome. It binds to this toxin, it flushes it out of your body. It also has a probiotic and a prebiotic, a super probiotic and super prebiotic that are designed to withstand your stomach acid and designed to go into your microbiome with a lactospore, which is a very special thing that bacteria create. And what's special about that is that's going to get the probiotic where it needs to be, which is to heal your gut microbiome system. What happens with the glyphosate is it kills parts of your gut microbiome by killing the bacteria, the good bacteria and the bacteria. This probiotic and prebiotic replaces that good bacteria so that you can have proper absorption and you can reverse the leaky gut. It repairs the microvilli within your gut microbiome. And what that does is that helps the proper absorption. So now when you add any kind of hyper nourishing food, like Jared is going to explain right now, like the Power Shake or the Hippocrates Power, that is going to be properly absorbed and you're going to feel an incredible difference. And this is what is happening inside your body, is that you're getting the nutrients that you finally need, and your body is relieved and it's able to remove that serotonin to your brain. It's able to transfer all of the information to your body saying, hey, we got everything that we need. We're good to go. You don't need to stress out anymore. So Jared, if you would like to talk about the power shake, Hippocrates Power.
Yeah, exactly. And another thing that's interesting me about the Biometic is that technology with the fulvic and the humic acid. This is the same tech that's repairing damaged soil. So the soil that's been depleted of its nutritional value, of its ability to grow healthy organic produce, it repairs it. Same with biochar and things like that. And our gut acts in a very similar way. That's why when we talk about gut health is mental health, we're drawing all these connections now. So yeah, Biometic in platinum for European and UK customers, it's called Gut Harmony. Same formula, however. So yeah, you'll get all the same benefits. So the Power Shake, Liquid Sunshine, we call it. This is the legacy green drink, and it's incredible. So for me, I knew cold pressed juicing. Yeah, Mark's got his right there. Cold pressed juice was the best way to start your day. If you can make your own organic juices every day, you're doing pretty well. However, I could not stick to that routine. I could not dedicate an hour of my day every day to juicing. And plus, I had to go and find all that organic produce, which isn't seasonally available, and then, do the juicing. There's the waste, there's the cleanup, and then the time. I couldn't stick with it. And you're not going to get benefits from anything unless it's a routine, unless you do it every day. So this was the gateway for me to get juice. And when we talk about juice, this is the champion, because not only it has all your fruits and vegetables for the day, it's a complete multivitamin, it has 210% of your B12, it's got spirulina in there, oat bran solubles, these ingredients that you would not be juicing. You cannot find you can find organic wheatgrass, but it's very expensive, it's very hard to find, and chances are it's been sitting in a refrigerator for months. So these ingredients are picked at peak ripeness, and they are wind dried, raw dehydrated at a low heat to preserve the living enzymes. So what you receive is the best quality, that you're going to have the most phytonutrients available from the foods. And then when you drink it, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. A lot of people who first start, sometimes they have a little bit of a reaction to it because they have a very acidic environment, and this is highly alkaline. This is a very alkalizing drink. So if you've been drinking coffee and animal products and wine, and you've taken antibiotics, you have an acidic system that an alkaline drink will cause a bit of a shock to. However, if you can push through that initial discomfort, get it in you, you're going to crave this. Your cells will crave this. And this is rebuilding the mitochondria, restoring all these channels through healthy fats, and your blood glucose levels will balance out. To think of a green juice as like a mood stabilizer, it's a little strange, but combined with the Biometic is laying the foundation for absorption. So your body's ready to receive all the absorption. Your cells are tight, they're not going to let any of the toxins in, and then you're flooding it with this super drink, which has been formulated by the OG of wheatgrass health, Dave Sandoval, over 30 years. This is the deal breaker, and for many people it's a gateway towards better eating. For instance, I started taking green juice every day to work when I first started, and I would also have my muffin or my bagel or my oatmeal. I'd have both, right? But over time, I was like, I don't even want to eat. Like, I feel like I'm forcing myself to eat, but I'm full and I have energy from the green juice, from the Power Shake. So I phased it out. There, I'm saving money because I'm not buying breakfast anymore, and I'm feeling great. I'm prolonging that fast overnight because it's not eating, right? You're not chewing anything, so it simulates the fast. And for giving your body a chance to recuperate and digest like that, it's doing yourself a lot of benefits. So I encourage anyone to, if you juice already, you're saying like, oh, it's okay, I do my celery juice or whatever, try this. This is really the next level of juicing. So Power Shake for Purium, and then for Platinum for EU UK customers, it's called Hippocrates Power. Cool name, I find. Hippocrates, if you know, it's a school of medicine, holistic healing. And yes, same exact formula. The farm is in Germany versus in the US, where it's in California. So this is all farm to family stuff, really delicious. So, and then if the next part of this package, so there's 4 core products, we've covered 2, is the super amino. I don't know, Mark, if you want to touch on it, I could take this one if you're.
Yeah, it's maybe best that you take this one because I'm starting my transformation 10 days
Okay.
tomorrow. So yeah.
Okay, so the aminos, it's called the master amino protein. And the difference between regular protein and this pre-digested vegan protein is these are the building blocks. And pre-digested means it doesn't need to go through your kidneys to be synthesized. So it's called 23 because 23 minutes after ingesting it, the protein is already doing its work. So this was formulated by Dr. Andretti, and he would give it, or it was prescribed to coma patients to retain muscle while they're in a coma state. So this is building muscle, creating lean muscle, burning fat, tightening skin, and then in terms of mental health, it improves mental acuity. There's several ingredients in there, including tryptophan, that will boost your mental acuity, and you feel in this heightened state where they suggest taking 5 of these, but you could take 50, you could take 100 of them if you want. There's really no limit because it's basically derived from food, and it's actually fermented lentils is the source of these. So when you open it, you can kind of, it's like a bit of that lentil-y smell, but when they're inside, I've noticed significant improvement in my performance. So I could do more push-ups, I could do pull-ups, I could run farther, I can just have more energy, and it's that pep, that natural protein synthesis that other protein sources can't compare because of the NNU, which is net nitrogen utilization, and any other protein source, meat, legumes, they only have around 30% NNU, so the rest goes to waste. Only 30% is turned into protein. This is 99% bioavailable NNU. So you are getting, like, you've never felt protein like this, and it's because it's amino acids. And people who have tried amino acids, liquid and pill form, this is very different. It's a different formula, and there is a lot of science to back this up. So if you are curious, Mark or Kevin, whoever invited you here, can send you some more information about that. But these are definitely a game changer. So yeah, like I said, it's called the Master Amino Pattern in Platinum, or MAP, same formula. And then our favorite, the apothecary. So I'll touch on it, and then if you guys want to mention your love of apothecary. So this is just pure tart cherry extract. There's a tart cherry juice, right? And tart sour cherries have tremendous healing benefits. They're rich in antioxidant. It's one of the highest antioxidant-rich fruits available. It's an anti-inflammatory, and it creates natural melatonin. So we all know how important good quality sleep is for your mental health. And if you're producing natural melatonin, not the fake way, the same way you can't just eat collagen and expect to produce collagen, you can't just eat melatonin and expect it to work. Sure, you'll feel sleepy, you'll feel drowsy, but your tolerance is going to increase over time. You're going to need stronger doses, and that's a very slippery slope. So this is the most natural way to produce melatonin. And we take this at night, like it's like kind of our nightcap, like a little wine, like a dessert type thing, and you can mix it with soda water for a little dark cherry soda. It's incredible. And I used to take Advil all the time. Advils, I would probably take 1 or 2 a day to deal with inflammation, pain, muscles, headaches, things like that. I did away with that. So then again, it's a transfer of spending where I don't care how much this costs because I don't want to be taking something like Advil, over-the-counter meds that are damaging my gut. This is benefiting my gut health and making me feel better. So yeah, if you guys have something to say about apothecary.
Yeah, I could like to add something that really I think is so important when we're talking about mental health when it comes to this is that one of the biggest contributors to people having, incredible high stress, anxiety, or issues like that is not having enough sleep, having a lack of sleep, not getting your 7 to 8 hours that you need, and not having deep, restful sleep. What I love about this is this really truly helps your body to rejuvenate and to rebuild and to repair our body to be ready to go for the next day, and also put our mind on a break. Most of our energy, a lot of our energy is actually going to power our brain. I think it's about 50% of our energy is going to power our brain. If we can get our brain to relax at the right time and to shut off at the right time and to truly rejuvenate, that mental brain power and acuity is going to transfer on the next day. And you don't know what it feels like until you feel it. You just have to try this.
Agreed. And Mark, you're a fan too, right?
Yeah, I really am. This apothecary is brand new to me, and I just started it this at the beginning of this week on Monday, actually. And I've been hearing a lot of people talking about it and very excited to try it. And now I've tried it myself. I can totally see why. It tastes delicious. It's like you say, the perfect replacement for that glass of wine in the evening. And I have definitely felt 150,000 times better than and having sleep this week. Because for myself, I've been actually working 2 jobs at the moment. I've been running this business within superfoods and also working a full-time job, which I finished today. One of the biggest things I noticed this week was actually on Wednesday at work in my job in construction, I actually dropped 40 kilos of weight onto my foot. And the next day, on the Thursday, when I woke up yesterday, I was limping at work in the afternoon on Wednesday. When I woke up on Thursday, I had 0 pain. I could walk, everything. And I was so surprised. And obviously this is new to me, but I was like, it has to be a combination of my green juices and the apothecary, that, like you say, that healing property that it has, relief and stress in it. Yeah, I can't vouch for this stuff enough. I absolutely love it.
Exactly. And I think that's a testament to knowing your body, understanding how long it normally would take you to heal from that, from dropping that anvil on your foot. Same way like colds, like when we used to get colds a few years ago, you'd be mucus and sore throat, and you knew, okay, I have like a week of this, at least a week, maybe 2. And then over time, it went from a week to 3 days, and then 1 day. And now, like, if I feel like a tickle, I'll just double up on the Power Shake and the Biomedic, and it's gone. And like, knock on wood, we haven't had a cold in 3 years. So this is definitely powerful stuff. So how can you get started? So the complete package, the best way to go about this is the ultimate lifestyle transformation. And not only is it have everything that we just mentioned, it's incredible value. Mark has a limited number of gift cards, and you would save over $100 on this package if you were to get it. And if you think of it as an investment in your health, where you're going to actually phase out processed food and animal products, and ideally your medications over time, that this is a very it's an incredible opportunity to transform your health. So like we said, the Biomedic, the Power Shake, the Apothecary, the Aminos, the Super Cleansar, it's an addition, and that is a very gentle gut colon cleanse. So it has marshmallow root and cloves, things to kill parasites, because a lot of the time those cravings for sugar and salt and junk food are coming from your parasites. And if you can help cleanse those out in a gentle way, doesn't have you running to the bathroom every 5 minutes. It's very gentle. I've been through it a few times, and I noticed those cravings dissipate. Like I can, and beyond that, this is stability, because I have this foundational routine of health, knowing I'm going to have these 4 things every day. I'm okay to go out and have a pizza, have burgers, kind of pig out for a few days, and I can rely on this. I'm not going to fall off. And I think what happens to men especially is that phenomena of like, imagine you're working on a painting and you screw it up a little bit, and then you're like, oh, I screwed it up, I'll put a little white to cover it up, and that made it worse, and then it's slowly getting worse and worse, and it's this path of self-destruction where you feel like if you have one bad weekend, one bad week, a bad season of eating and not exercising, you're too far gone, you can't go back. To have this as a routine, as your stable kind of daily ritual, big time game changer, and we've witnessed it thousands of times over working for people. So this is for Purium, the ultimate lifestyle transformation. And then if you're in the EU, UK as a platinum customer, the 10-day, it's called the 10-day transformation, even though this package lasts you 30 days. The one thing that is missing from this package is the gut harmony. So in Purium, it's included. However, you would have to just add the gut harmony to this package, but very affordable. You know, and if you're talking about your mental health is on the line, it's definitely a very sound investment. So yeah, I'll stop the slides, and that's pretty much it. I think you know, we've said a lot here. It's a lot to absorb, but to know that there's a natural way towards better healing, towards you know, being a better father, a better husband, better boyfriend, better brother, just having that mission of health. It's at your fingertips, and this changed my life, and it can change yours too.
Nice. I just want to say a huge thank you to both of you, Jared and Kevin, for supporting me this evening and joining me on this Mega Zoom. It's been beautiful for me to be able to sit here with other men and be able to talk about mental health, how it's affected us, how we may have seen in our lives, etc. And to be open about it, you know, that's why I really want to have people, encourage people to be open about it, encourage people to build a community around it, you know, because it is definitely something that is already out there, and to stop hiding it. Kevin mentioned earlier about finding your purpose, and that is something throughout my whole life. I've always been that, again, I mentioned earlier about my past. It was a huge part of it, finding my purpose. I wanted to help people. What I've come to realize now is that I can still do that, and I can still do that in many, many ways. To do that, I had to first fix and heal myself. One thing on that as well, that is concurrent. We are constantly doing that. And one of the ways that we can do that is by looking after our gut, by looking after ourselves. Our health, our physical health is going to improve our mental health. Yeah, but again, thank you very much. Thank you to everybody that's tuned in and listened. It's such a pleasure to have you all here. And yeah, like, if anybody's interested, just reach out to myself, Jared, or Kevin. We have all of the information, so we'd love to pass that on to you and talk more. And yeah, there will be a lot more of this type of event to come up in the future as well. So thank you
so
very
much, Mark.
much.
You did amazing, man. We're really proud of you, Mark, and on your journey. We support you and we love you. And thank you, Kevin, too, for sharing. And yeah, that's it. Enjoy your Friday. Have an amazing, happy, serotonin-filled weekend. And we'll see you soon. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Take care.